receipt lay on the table like a quiet, cold accusation. 0.00, not even a single coin, just a blank space where hope usually lived. For Marisol Hayes, standing in the middle of a busy roadside diner just outside Cedar Ridge, that empty line felt heavier than the entire 12-hour shift she had just worked. The air was thick with the hum of clinking plates, the sizzle of the grill, and the low murmur of tired travelers. But all Marisol could hear was the deafening silence of that zero. She took a slow, shaky breath, steadying herself against the laminate counter. This wasn't just about money anymore. It was a brutal reminder that life rarely showed mercy to people who were already stretched thin. Before we go deeper into Marisol's story, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of doing the right thing, please take a moment to like this video, comment, and share it with someone who needs hope today. Subscribe to Kindness Corner to join our community and tell us in the comments, where are you watching from? Marisol was 27 years old. A single mother doing her absolute best to hold together a life that felt permanently one unpaid bill away from total collapse. Cedar Ridge was a town that lived somewhere between forgotten and overlooked, a place where the American dream felt like a distant memory. Her mornings began long before the sun dared to rise, packing small snacks and well-worn coloring books for her 4-year-old daughter Ella. She would drop Ella off with a kind neighbor, whispering promises of a better tomorrow before heading to the diner to serve meals to strangers who rarely bothered to learn her name. She wore her exhaustion like a second uniform, stitched invisibly into her stained apron. That particular afternoon had been especially grueling. The lunch rush had blurred into a frantic late afternoon, and then he walked in. Everyone noticed the moment he entered. He didn't announce himself, and he didn't demand attention. But something about his presence shifted the very energy of the room. He wore a tailored coat that whispered of wealth and carried himself with a quiet, undeniable authority. He spoke politely but sparingly, his voice low and calm. His name, printed on the credit card slip much later, was Grant Hollowell. A name Marisol didn't recognize at the time, though many in the elite circles of the world certainly did. He was a billionaire, a man who built empires, though Marisol wouldn't learn that truth until much later. Marisol treated him exactly like she treated everyone else, with genuine human dignity. She kept his water glass full, brought his meal exactly as he ordered, and checked in on him just a bit more than usual. There was something about his distant, contemplative gaze that made her worry he might be carrying a heavy burden of his own. He nodded, thanked her softly, and ate in total silence. When he finished, he placed his utensils neatly together, slid out of the booth, and left without another word. When Marisol returned to clear the table, she saw the receipt. Total paid, tip, $0. Her chest tightened. It wasn't anger she felt, but that familiar sinking feeling of being invisible. She thought about the grocery list taped to her fridge, the school supplies Ella needed, and the rent that was due in exactly 10 days. She swallowed hard, blinking back tears, reminding herself that kindness wasn't supposed to be transactional. You don't do the right thing just to get paid. She began to wipe the table with a damp cloth, stacking the heavy plates when something stopped her. The main plate didn't move smoothly. It caught on something hidden beneath it. Marisol lifted the ceramic plate again, slower this time, and saw a folded piece of high-quality paper tucked under the edge. Her name was written on it in careful, elegant handwriting. Just her first name, no flourish, no explanation. Her heart began to race, not with fear, but with a curiosity that felt almost sacred. She waited until the diner went quiet before she dared to open it, her hands trembling just enough to notice. Inside was a note, simple and unadorned. It spoke of observation. It said he had noticed how she balanced the child's drawing tucked into her apron pocket. He noticed how she spoke gently to every customer, even the rude ones. He noticed how she worked with incredible dignity, even when the day was unkind to her. The note ended with a sentence that made her sit down in the booth. Her breath caught in her throat. This is not a tip. It is an opportunity. Tucked behind the note was a crisp business card and a folded check. When Marisol saw the number, her vision blurred. It wasn't an extravagant, life-changing fortune that would make her a millionaire, but it was exactly what she needed. It was enough to cover her rent, her childcare debt, and a little bit more. It was enough to finally breathe. But more than the money, the card invited her to call. No obligations, no promises, just a door cracked open. Marisol went home that night in a daze. She held Ella a little longer than usual, listening to her daughter chatter about the shapes she'd learned that day, feeling something unfamiliar blooming in her chest. Possibility. The next morning, after dropping Ella off, Marisol sat in her car for nearly 20 minutes, staring at the phone before finally dialing the number. When someone answered, they didn't rush her. They listened. Weeks passed, then months. Marisol didn't quit her job right away, but she began to change. She learned that Grant Hollowell ran a massive foundation focused on small-town businesses and overlooked talent. He believed that true dignity came from work and growth, not just handouts. The note had been his way of testing her. Not her obedience, but her attention to detail and her character. He wanted to see if she would notice what others missed. Through mentorship, professional training, and resources she never imagined having access to, Marisol discovered she had a natural knack for organization and leadership. Even the diner owner noticed the change, eventually offering her more responsibility. With guidance and a modest grant from the foundation, Marisol eventually helped modernize the diner's entire operation, turning the struggling roadside stop into a thriving community hub. She made sure the diner hired other single parents, creating a schedule that allowed them to juggle work and family without the crushing weight of despair. Years later, Marisol stood in that very same diner. It was brighter now, busier, and filled with the sound of genuine laughter. Ella sat at the counter doing her homework, looking safe, happy, and confident. Grant Hollowell still visited once every year. He always sat in the same booth. He always ordered the same meal, and he always left no tip. Just a note. Each note served as a reminder to Marisol that the world doesn't always change through loud, grand gestures. Sometimes the world changes quietly, tucked under a plate, waiting for someone who is paying attention. If this story touched your heart even a little, please take a moment now to like this video and share it with someone who still believes in the power of kindness. Stay with us by subscribing to Kindness Corner. Your support helps these stories reach the people who need them most. Before we go, we have a special request. Please comment below with one single word that describes how this story made you feel, and tell us where you are watching from. Your words matter more than you know, because sometimes what looks like nothing changes everything.